What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Toyota Fanatics. It is a gorgeous golden early October evening. We have a ice cold 12-ounce Red Bull OG Sequoia behind us. We're heading over. I have like 45 minutes with nothing to do right now. Beautiful time of day. We're gonna head to the Toyota dealership because I got to show you guys something a little controversial, something interesting, something fascinating, definitely something Toyota. So I don't usually mess with energy drinks, but one of our wonderful subscribers wrote recently and said, hey, what happened to the Red Bull cameos from back in the day? And I'm gonna bring them back. But for right now, it's been a long day. I could use a little energy. Just made a claim that I'm not an energy drink drinker, and I'm wearing a Monster shirt and holding a Red Bull. It's not looking good. There's like 40 or 50 Tacomas over there, and they're all the same, pretty much, because they're not this. This is the XtraCab. This is the first one we've had here locally. And you know what? That XtraCab term brings me right back to 1985. I was absolutely in love with the 80s Toyotas, but I had to have the XtraCab. I mean, back then, you'd be lucky to fit your backpack in that space, but the XtraCab is back. It turned into the Access Cab for a while, and the reason why it was called an Access Cab is because you could actually access the back seats. Now, this is like a nightmare right here, trying to get anybody in the back seats, which you wouldn't anyways, because there's no seats, there's no seat belts. This is basically a regular cab, a standard cab, a cowboy cab, as some people will call it. This is an XtraCab. This is basically just room for your groceries. It's a regular cab with a little bit of space. And I think it's awesome. I think it's absolutely great. I have 2 younger daughters, so this would not work for me. I was a little bit older and didn't have to fit children in the car anymore. I would be all over one of these, and I'm not kidding you. You'll notice, unfortunately, this one is a pre-runner, and I'm actually pretty certain they're not even offering this model in 4-wheel drive. If you get 4-wheel drive, they really want you to step up to the 4 full-size doors, but it also has the leaf springs, which is indicative of definitely a cheaper model. But unfortunately, the price does not reflect that whatsoever. $40,405. If 1985 Toyota was here, they would be very disappointed. I mean, to even hear that a $40,000 Toyota truck existed, let alone a 2-wheel drive, kind of a cheaper model that the back doors don't even open. I mean, this is too much. The past wouldn't believe what the future looks like. But I really like this truck. I'm telling you, this truck with like a 6-inch lift on 35. Why do I always go there? That's just my go-to. But this truck lifted. If you were to have this length of bed with 4 full-size doors, it would be way too long to maneuver, swing around. So this configuration's awesome. One thing that's really cool about it too is that solid back window. I used to be into solid back windows so much on pickup trucks that I actually swapped out a couple sliders for solid back windows. I just thought they were so cool. Anyways, this truck's really neat. And again, it's a good thing I don't have room and a lot of money, because I would just buy it because I like Toyota stuff. Anyways, this is not why we're here. So a couple months ago, we replaced the lower ball joints on the OG Sequoia, and now it's time to do the uppers. So I actually got the best deal from the dealership, from the parts department. And the thing is, if there's any issues or whatever, I can just come right back. It just seems like the simplest thing to me. So yesterday I was actually at work, but I stopped by real quick in the afternoon to grab them, and I saw a 24 Tundra is fresh on the lot. 24 used Tundra. You could tell it was a little lifted, leveled, had some 295s on it on the stock wheels. They're asking $60,000 for this truck and has less than 10,000 miles. And I know the only way you can pull off that tire size is to run wheel spacers. So I walk over to it and look in. Sure enough, there's wheel spacers on it. What's the problem with wheel spacers? Not too much. How do I know that? Because I've run them on a few vehicles, including the OG Sequoia. Are they controversial? Yes, they definitely are. Every time I have put them on a new vehicle and I'm driving it for the first 50 miles, I'm like ready to die. Have people died because of wheel spacers? Absolutely. They're kind of something that you don't really want to do to a new vehicle or a vehicle you have a loan on or something like that. Anyways, the dealership is selling a $60,000 high-end Tundra as a certified used vehicle. It basically looks new, and they are not going to tell whoever buys this truck that it has wheel spacers. I can assure you of that. I don't think that's super cool to do. Someone's going to put a family in this thing. They're not going to know it has wheel spacers. They're probably going to drive it at 100 miles an hour on a curvy road. These are all bad things. Now, what's wrong with wheel spacers? First off, you can't use an impact gun. They're really tricky and specific about how you want to treat them. And whenever I drop off a vehicle that has wheel spacers to a shop, I take the wheel spacers off first, because step number 1 of having problems is letting some other shop or somebody who doesn't know what they're doing with wheel spacers mess with them. I would say that I don't think it's a good idea for the dealership to sell a $60,000 truck in that manner that has wheel spacers that they're not going to tell the owner about. The owner will find out soon if they're not aware of this. At some point when they take it to a tire shop, they take it somewhere and some shop says, I won't work on this vehicle because it has wheel spacers, or you shouldn't be running these, or it flies off down the freeway at 100 miles an hour. Anyways, something potentially could go wrong down the road. So anyways, we're going to go to the dealership right now. I filmed a little video when I was there yesterday. I couldn't help myself, but it was not a proper video. So we're going to go back right now, and I was going to show you guys this truck, and we were going to talk about it. And the truck's been sold. A salesman said they sold it this morning. So there is somebody who has that truck in their driveway right now. They probably have a $65,000 loan on it, and they don't know it has wheel spacers on it. Whatever. What are you going to do? But that's super strange. So that kept us from going and looking at the truck. But I did take some video yesterday, so we'll throw that in right now and see how good it is. So they're selling. There's no doubt about that. And this one doesn't have these silly mud flaps that this other one has that's out front. They're wild looking mud flaps. And that right there, that should be in the trash. I'll show you what that is. But look at this new unit we got on the lot right here. And you guys know 24 is my favorite year. And it is a 24 with 2,500 miles for $60,000. Now, somebody owned this. This is a pre-used vehicle. They spent some money on this little roll-up bed cover. It does have a leveling kit on it, and you'll notice some larger tires here, a 295/60/20, which is basically like a 33, maybe even pushing a 34, almost a 35 even. But one thing I know about these wheels, if you run these wheels with a larger tire, you're gonna hit the upper control arm right there, so you have to run a spacer. And it is in there. That is, and you can see it, the spacer is in there. Now, spacers are kind of controversial. I run them on my Sequoia with no issues, knock on wood. We gotta find some wood to knock on, but no issues there. But I'm very surprised the dealership is selling a vehicle with spacers. This is not something that a dealership would normally want to take the liability on if something goes wrong. I'm not even sure they know it has wheel spacers in there, but that is one thing you have to take into consideration when you run factory wheels on a leveled or lifted truck. You're gonna have to run some spacers. Spacers come with their own set of issues. So I don't know. And that's when I'm gonna ask the question to everybody out there, would you have issues running spacers on a truck that you just bought for $60,000 from a dealership? Now, I showed you a few minutes ago, I said, I'll show you what that thing is down there that should be in the trash. And what it is, it's that lower valance, that lower air dam. You can tell that this truck's had it removed, and it looks a million times better without it. Those things are gross. You know what? I've bought vehicles before, and if I bought one of these trucks, I wouldn't even leave the auto dealership before I took it off and just left it behind. I would actually hand it to the salesman and say, hey, you can keep your lower chin spoiler because they're gross and I don't want them. Well, sun's going down, beautiful day. We only got a couple minutes of light left. And what do we see here? This is the second used 24 Tacoma we've seen on the lot. Everybody out there watching this video, fellow Toyota people or people just stumbled across the channel, how many used 24 Tacomas have you seen at dealerships yet? There was one here like a month ago, went super quick, and now we got another one. I'd love to know the story of how this thing ended up here. To run through a 24 Tacoma that quick, 24 TRD off-road, 7,900 miles for $50,000. So this truck originally was probably 51, 52. So basically, that somebody got to drive it 8,000 miles, grip the steering wheel, get their dirty paws on everything, and you're just going to pay the same price for it. Now, it does have these gorgeous TRD wheels. I actually don't like those wheels that much. One of my lesser favorite wheels, but when we do the ding check down the side, it's coming up flawless. And the bed's flawless. God, what does everybody think of that new back window? That's so F-150 right there. Now, this could be one of those scenarios where like a man, you know what's interesting is, look, we got the square gas door, and then they went to a round gas door. What was their motivation behind that? I like a square gas door, if you ask me. I feel like square is where it's at. Just like when they made the switch to the square headlights in like 1982, I believe it is. You know, for all my fellow auto enthusiasts out there, I hope that's something you recognize also. is that in 1981, 82, everything had round headlights, and then they went to square for 83 in the Toyota truck, and 84 was the best Toyota truck ever made. But the round gas door, things that are round are just, they're no good. Anyways, great looking truck. I don't know if it's worth buying used on this one. We'll see. We'll check back. I have a weird feeling that that truck's not going to be around very long. Anyways, you guys, that's going to do it. Leave a comment down below and let me know, would you be super bummed if you just bought a $60,000 truck and you didn't know it had wheel spacers, and you found out later, and you also found out that the wheel and tire package that were on it would not fit the vehicle without wheel spacers? That's another thing. It's one thing if you're like, wait a minute, I don't want wheel spacers, I'm just going to take them off and live happily ever after. No, you're going to need to go buy new wheels and tires, or at least new wheels. If that wants to be, you're going to need a wheel with a different offset to pull away from the caliper and the A-arm. That's going to be the issue. Leave a comment down below. Would this be an issue for you? Would it not be an issue for you? And lastly, everybody subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the channel, take a second, please subscribe. Everybody else, big old thumbs up. See you in the next one. Peace.